Guys, it's Kendra. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing a Q&A. I asked you guys on Instagram for questions you have, and I have a whole lot of things to talk about. So I don't know why I felt like doing this. I just felt like every so often I love doing a Q&A just to see what you guys want to hear me talk about, and they're just really fun to do. And I also feel like it's a way for you guys to get to know me a little bit better, and it's just a nice casual video that I miss. I just like sitting down and talking directly with you guys. So it's kind of all over the place as far as topics go. A lot of things about kids, obviously, some stuff about work, health, beauty, makeup routines, skin, like mentality as a mom, stuff with me and Andrew, stuff on faith. So we're gonna try to cover it all. So I hope you guys enjoy today's video, and let's get into it. The first question is, how do you and Andrew keep each other motivated in both health and work? So when I read this, I thought this was just a really neat topic. I was listening to Sadie Robertson's podcast, and she was talking about how in the Bible it says your spouse, their purpose is to be your helper in life. And I just thought that was really interesting. I never really thought about it, but when I relate that to Andrew and I's relationship, it's really accurate, because you want somebody who can help you be a better person, who's on the same, has the same mindset as you, the same track in life. You want somebody who is on your team and at your side and just supporting you. So for me personally, Andrew is very optimistic and he's a go-getter. He has so much drive and he's always looking ahead, thinking for the next thing. He's very driven. And I am a little bit more content, especially when I first met him and we started dating. I was more the type to just be happy with where I'm at, and I kind of had a path for my life, but it wasn't super ambitious, I guess you could say. So the really neat thing about Andrew is he questions things that I want to do, not in like a bad way, but in a way to push me and to, get to my fullest potential. So I just really love that about him, because he has given me so much more just ideas for like what I could do with my life and our life together, and what we want to do in 5 years, what we want to do in 10 years. And he's shown me how goals are so important, and it's just like you need to put things down on paper if you want to achieve them, and you have to work towards them. Because at the beginning of the year, we'll do kind of like our goals for the year, and I will just write them down, and they're usually pretty generic things. And Andrew's always like, okay, make it more specific, and also how are you going to get to that? Like, say it was something where I want to grow my channel. He's like, that's, great in theory, but what are the steps you're going to take to grow your channel? And then when it comes to health, I feel like it kind of switches. I'm more kind of on him for health things. For me, I definitely think eating healthy is so much more important than working out. I do think working out is important, and I think you have to do both of them together, but your diet makes up your body, and it's really like the building blocks of everything. So if you're not putting in good things, then you're not gonna feel good and you're not gonna look good. So I do think working out though is really great just to get your blood flowing. It's good for your skin, for your pores, to get all your toxins out of your body, and also to build muscle. Like, you're not gonna get that by just eating healthy. So I am always on Andrew for what he eats. He loves junk food, like he loves fast food, he loves sugar. I can eat a few bites of something and put it away, and that's all I need. I do think one thing that is good is doing things together. So if we go on a run together on the weekends, like that's always a good thing to motivate the both of us. And I have learned over just being with Andrew, like our personalities together, he doesn't like to be told what to do, because if I'm like coming at something to him and it sounds like I'm telling him this is what you should be doing, he will like pull back from that and not want to do it at all. So I've just learned that if I just do it myself, like if I just, work out consistently, stay healthy, then he will see that and then want to emulate that too, and I just feel like that's kind of the same thing for so many aspects of life. Same thing with faith. If you believe in God, I think one of the best ways to show that to other people is not preaching things to them, but acting it and acting like a good person and, doing the right thing. And then people will look at you and say, hey, why do you act this way? And then it kind of opens the door. But yeah, that's kind of like the dynamic between Andrew and I, but we definitely see each other as a team and we try to support each other, and we're definitely like best friends. And yeah, I couldn't do it without him. Okay, let's talk about makeup and skincare because a lot of people have been asking about that. So it's actually really crazy. I had really, really bad cystic acne after I had Owen. I had really crazy postpartum with Owen, just mood all over the place, acne, like all of it. And I didn't really have it that much with the girls. I wonder if it's because I did the placenta pills with them. I didn't do it with Owen because I heard that it can affect your breast milk, because what placenta pills do is it evens out your hormones. So when you're breastfeeding, you kind of want that surge in hormones because it helps stimulate, produce more milk. So I do think it helped with my milk, but I did feel the effects like mentally after having him that I didn't necessarily feel as much with the twins, which is crazy because usually after twins you have way more hormones. But because of that, my face really suffered. And one thing that did really help is the Pericone MD acne system. So I'll link that down below for you guys if you're looking for some skincare that's good with acne. I've never really dealt with acne, so it was new for me, and it just was not clearing up. And they were the big rooted pimples, the deep ones that really hurt so bad. So I actually started taking this. It's Progessence Plus. It's a little bottle of oil, mostly to help stabilize my periods because I get extreme cramps, super moody, like crazy PMS, especially after Owen, like once my cycle started getting back to normal. So I had just heard so many people talk about this and how it has changed their body so much. So what I do with this is every night I put a few drops on my inner arms, and it's made from natural progesterone made from yams. So it's just a very natural way to level out your hormones. And I was using this every night, and I noticed that my PMS was pretty much like, it takes a couple months to kick in when you're using any type of oil. But after a few months, the week before my period, I'm usually like crazy. And I didn't notice any symptoms. Like I was just so much more mild and normal. And then I stopped using it for a few days because we had gone to the river, and I kept it in my bathroom because I forgot to put it back by my bedside table, which is where I always keep it. And I started getting like all these breakouts. Like right now I have all these pimples down here. I was like, what is going on? And the only thing that I had changed was I stopped using that at night. So now I've really seen that it's just done such a good job at keeping me a little bit more stable, balancing everything out. But as far as my routine goes for my skincare, I wash my face every night 2 times. I cleanse first with an oil, some type of makeup balm to get everything off, and then I go in with a normal cleanser, and then I usually tone, serum, and moisturizer, and an eye cream. So I always do like so many steps because to me skincare is so important. And if your skin is not good, then no makeup you put on is gonna look as good as it can. So I tried to prioritize my skin rather than makeup. And then as far as makeup goes, I don't do my makeup every day. Probably like a few days a week, I'll do like a full thing of makeup depending on what I'm doing that day. And then other days I let my skin breathe, and I think it's just good to let your pores kind of be free of makeup for a little bit. Okay, the next question is how and why we got married so young. So Andrew and I started dating when I was 16 and he was 17. I was a sophomore in high school, I think. We ended up going to different colleges, but doing long distance the whole time. And then when I was graduating college, that's when we got engaged. So I got engaged like a few months before I graduated. So we were engaged for a year, and I lived with my parents and he lived with his parents after graduating college for a year. And then we got married, and then both of us moved in together into apartment. So the thing that both of us always talk about all the time, because I feel like 2 things have a stigma. Getting married young has a stigma, and long distance relationships. And when I was in college, Pretty much every single person I ever told that I was in a long distance relationship told me it's not gonna work. I remember a professor being like, good luck with that. Like, she had everybody raise their hand if they were in a long distance relationship. And she was like, well, the statistics say this. And one thing that I do think helped us is we dated before we did long distance. So I could understand if you like start your relationship long distance right off the bat. That's obviously hard, but we had a foundation and then we did long distance, and my personality is kind of good for that because I am not the type who's going to be texting and calling Andrew all the time. I'm very independent, so I think that worked in my favor. But I just felt like everybody was kind of against us the whole time and like, you should date other people and all this stuff. And the whole time I just never wanted to. I was like, why would I want to? I love Andrew. Like, it doesn't make sense to just break up with him, you know? And also just getting married young, people are like, oh, you're so young, you don't know anything, you know? And yes, I do agree, when you're young, you don't know as much as you do when you're older. But at the same time, it's been really nice for both me and Andrew to kind of grow up together. Like, we knew each other so well, and both of us have the same kind of core values in life, and we've experienced everything together now. So we have just like literally everything in common. We always joke we're like the same person. We have different personalities, like different ways we deal with things, but when it comes down to it, like, we're very, very much alike. And I think a lot of times now, especially like in our day and age, a lot of people try to wait to accomplish things before they get married. They want to have the perfect job, they want to be in the perfect location, and it seems like really complicating now. And when Andrew and I got married, we weren't even really thinking about all of that stuff. It was kind of like, we know we want to be together and we will figure it out together, like along the way, and support each other and be there for each other no matter what. And I knew he wanted to go to physical therapy school, and I knew that it would definitely be a really hard time because we would be, you know, freshly married and have no money at all, but we were in it together, and it worked out. So I think if you go into your marriage just being a team and just, you know, working at things together and trying to help the other person rather than go against it, then it will help you out so much. The next question that I was so commonly asked is if we want more kids, and then also baby names. So let's talk about more kids. Actually, this month has probably been the first time where both Andrew and myself are we've come to terms with just being content and happy with 3 kids. It was like a weird thing. Okay, so let's backtrack. So after I found out, I always wanted to have 3 kids, and I come from a family of 4, and it's a lot. And I just felt like, okay, I feel like I want to have 3 because I knew I wanted to work. I love what I do. I love having this community. And to me, work is important because it gives me like value and worth. Not that children don't, but it's a separate thing. Then Andrew comes from a family of 3, but his sister is much younger than him. So it's kind of like 2. And then his sister's like, you know, like almost like an only child. And he always wanted a much bigger family. He wanted 4 kids. Once we found out we were having twins, I was like, okay, I feel like I'm open to the thought of having 4 because timeline wise, twins are like 1, you know, and they graduate together and they do all these things at the same time. So it makes sense to kind of have 1 more. But then what I've realized over the years is it's not like 1. It's almost like more than 1 because everything is amplified with twins. It is still 2 children, and it almost makes me mad. And both me and Andrew were like, when people just say, oh, like 2 for 1, or you lucked out, like, it's not just 2 for 1. You know, it's 2 individual people, and they have their own individual needs, and it's not like they're any less than just 1 baby. It like makes me kind of mad when people say things like that. And I don't know, I just feel like with them especially, they need individual attention because they are constantly being compared to each other. Everything is, you know, trying to get my attention, Andrew's attention. Like, it would be hard to be a twin. I mean, luckily that's all they know, but at the same time, it makes me as a mom, as their mom, want to really give them the attention they deserve. And then when Owen came along, it just like threw a wrench into everything. And I thought I had everything under control with them. And then he was born, and I just felt like everything was chaotic. And I don't know, I want our life to be manageable and enjoyable. And I feel like if we had one more, it would just, not that having another baby would be like a bad thing, but I like where we're at. And it's weird because I feel guilty saying that. It's like you feel like as a mom that saying like, yeah, I don't want any more, that it's selfish for thinking that. Like for me to think that I'm fine with 3 kids, I don't want another one because I actually like working. Like it's super hard for me to say that. And I also think too, like we are so blessed with these 3 beautiful, healthy babies. Like there's so much to be grateful for. And I just like where we're at. I like our life, and I like seeing like our future together. So that's where I'm at. Like I don't see myself with any more kids now. I feel like this is my family. You know what I mean? I could just keep rambling on this because it is just like a weird topic. And I get asked it all the time now. I feel like once your baby hits 1, everybody asks you like, do you want more kids? And I just have learned not to ask that to people now, because you never know what they're thinking, and you never know if it's gonna like bring up things to them, or if they're gonna feel bad for what they say. And it's just such a personal decision, like for you and your family. As far as baby names go that I like, I'm just gonna like list off some that I like off the top of my head. Actually, I think I have that in my notes still. It's funny, I love like flower names. I love like botanical names. For girls, I like Daisy, I like Ivy. I like names and colors. I like Scarlet. For boys, I like a little bit more traditional names. I like James. I like Ben, Benjamin. That if we had twin boys, it was gonna be Owen and Ben. Okay, I found my list. I like Henry, Finn, Leo, Everett, Dawson, Graham, Jonah, Sage, Ethan, Carter, Evan, Colin. I love Tate, and I love Davis. Oh my gosh, I love Davis so much. Owen's middle name is William because that's Andrew's middle name, but I really loved Owen Davis. I was like, that is such a cool name, or just Davis for a first name. But Andrew wasn't a huge fan of it. Like Andrew is so picky on names. He likes very traditional names. So luckily we both loved Owen for a really long time. Other girl names I like are Hazel, Darcy, Brooklyn. Scotland is also another one of my favorites. But if you guys want more names, I have 2 videos. I'll link those down below because I can't find my other notes. Okay, also a lot of questions on how do I remain relaxed with kids. So it's hard. Like a lot of people say, do you ever freak out? Do you ever, like, of course I do, you know, like the days just get overwhelming. And especially this year, like with COVID, it's just a crazy, crazy time. And to not be able to go anywhere with young children working from home is very, very hard. So I have just learned to not put too much pressure on myself, because I am very hard on myself. I have like really high expectations for a day all the time. So I just now give myself a little bit more grace, and if the day doesn't go perfect, that's okay. And I try to just go with the flow, because you cannot plan everything with kids. Andrew has been very good with that, because I try to kind of make everything controlled, and he's always like, that's just not gonna work with all of them. So one thing that we recently did is we hired a nanny. So we had one just for like 2 months. I think it was like Owen was a few months old, and we had her for a little bit, a few hours in the morning, like 2 to 3 days a week. And it was great, but then she got a job, and then COVID happened, and so I never looked for anybody again. And it recently got to the point where it was more Andrew being like, you need some help, because I always say like, I have all this stuff to do, and I can't ever do it. And Andrew's like, okay, well, the only way to do that is to get somebody to help you out. So I lucked out big time. I found somebody who is so great. It's only been her 2nd day. She's here right now. But I just feel so grateful that she was like, honestly, like put here for me to help me out right now in this season of our life. And I'm just so happy, because it's kind of allowed me, like honestly, it's crazy saying this because we had her for 1 day, but in 1 day, I can just tell you, it's allowed me to take a breath. I feel like this year, I have not been able to take a breath. I feel like I'm always buried in everything I need to do, and I'm never ahead. And I want to get back to, I was telling her when I was interviewing her, I was like, I want the chaos to calm down, and I don't want to be just like getting by anymore, because that's how I just have felt like I'm just getting by. And I want to be like on top of things more, you know? So this morning I actually went on a run. It's just been really nice. So I think just figuring out like how to manage, how to balance everything, and just, I know it's gonna be different for everybody in your situation, but for me personally, it was like I need to have separate time for work and for being a mom, because I was for a really long time trying to do it all at the same time, and it was not working. I was not being the best mom that I could be, and I was not giving everything that I could to work. So you just end up giving a little bit of yourself, and it's just not a good way to be. So now I can have a few days a week, the mornings, my head can be clear, I can get what I need to do done. And then once they wake up from their nap, I am unplugged from social media, and I can just be with them and just enjoy our time together, rather than feeling like, oh my gosh, I have to do this. How am I gonna do this? Okay, the next question is, how are you doing socially with COVID? And it's funny because I am an introvert, and so I'm very happy at home with my family. I don't like feel the urge to make a ton of plans all the time. Andrew, on the other hand, is an extrovert, and he is so social. He has a million friends and makes a million plans. And that is truly like the one argument we have, is he is always wanting to do stuff with people like all the time. And I'm always wanting him, I'm always thinking like, why don't you just want to be here with us? And it just relates to your personality type. Okay, this is off topic, kind of, not really. I recently have been so into enneagrams. Oh my gosh. So I took the test and it wasn't accurate for me. I would recommend going on some Instagram pages. I'll put some down below for you that I found and I love them. And just like looking at all the numbers, see what you relate to. Okay, I am completely a 1. I don't know if you guys know anything about it, but a 1 is a perfectionist, always trying to do better with everything, with themselves personally, with their home. Like on the weekend, you want to organize. And a 3 is like more work driven. They want to be successful. Whereas a 1, their value in life is to be a good person. And so that's where I get my core motivation, is to be a good person. My core like fear in life is to be a bad person, for somebody to see me like in a negative light. Like that's my ultimate fear. But through looking at all of that so much, it's made me realize that you can't change a person. You know, like obviously some things can be tweaked, but ultimately people are who they are at their core, and their personality is theirs, and you have to find ways to work with it and not try to change it. And I think like early in Andrew and I's relationship or our marriage, you're like, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing it this way? But lately I've just been realizing that everybody is different than you. Nobody is going to view things the exact same as you or do things the same way you do, you know? And I have very high expectations for everybody. And I think in my head, like, why wouldn't you do this? Because to me, that's important, but to other people, it's not important. They find importance in other things. It's just fascinating to me, and I just am trying now to be more like aware of other people's differences and like working with that, like especially in close relationships with friends and with Andrew and the girls even, like know that they're not going to respond to things the same way as you are going to, and figure out how they best would respond to it and work with that. But as far as being social and COVID, it's made me want to do more with friends, and it's made me appreciate the freedom that we used to have to just be able to do something. It's not necessarily like I'm gonna go do that, but the fact that I can't makes me want to, you know? So that has been really hard, just not having the option, and it kind of like messes with me mentally. Okay, did you get diastasis recti? I did with the girls and with Owen. So that's when you get a separation in your ab muscles. I still have like maybe a finger width of separation. And the only thing that's gonna help that is to do core strengthening workouts. I have a few on my Instagram saved to postpartum highlights, and they're super simple, but you just want to be consistent with them. So I still have a little bit, I could be better doing my core stuff. I should just do that when I'm like playing with the kids. I how long is your friend living with you? So if you guys don't know, my best friend is actually living with us. She has been with us for a year now. She moved in with us because she ended up moving down towards us. She got a new job and she was with her boyfriend and things didn't work out with him. And she kind of needed like a fresh start. And so it was right after I had Owen and I was like, just move in with us and figure everything out. Like, don't rush into anything. Don't move anywhere right off the bat. We have an extra bedroom, so you should just live with us and just kind of get back on your feet. So she has been just a blessing to us at our house. She's a physical therapist too, so she's busy. She's pretty much gone all week long, but when she's here, she's like an aunt to our kids and she loves them so much and they love her. They act like she's their sister. It's really funny. But I went to college with her. That's how we met. And now she just loves the area that we live in. Now she wants to live near us and we've gotten so close too. And it's just been really nice to have her because some things like you want to talk to about with girls that your husband's not going to really care about, you know? And especially with COVID, it's like, I wasn't really hanging out with friends a ton. So it was really nice to have her here because the two of us could hang out and talk. And I don't know when she's gonna move out. It's not like we have like a date or something, but she's here with us right now. Everything's going fine and we love having her here with us. Okay, managing mom guilt. So this is super hard. I feel like I felt mom guilt for hiring a nanny because I want to be able to do everything. I want to do it all and I want to do it the best that I can and like show that to everybody. And it's made me realize, actually Andrew's made me realize that you can't do it all. You know, you think you can, but you just can't. And if you think you are, there's gonna be some area in your life that is suffering. And for me, it was my mood. It was just how I was as a person because Andrew would come home and I would just be so annoyed. I would be like bitter that he didn't understand what I'm going through all day long. And he's like, I'm sorry, I just don't have a ton of sympathy because there's a way to fix this. You know, like you cannot do all the things that you're doing. You're working a full-time job, raising 3 kids, taking care of the home. Like it's just a lot. So something has to give. And I do think you need that little like check from an objective stance because I just don't like asking for help. And I just feel like, okay, but I should be able to do it all. And it's just, I think now too, just our society, it's like you are expected to do everything and be that perfect Pinterest mom and be doing all the perfect schoolwork and your house should be perfect. And like, it's just so much to live up to and it's not realistic, you know? And I think social media has really had an effect to that because you see just little tiny snapshots of people's lives and you cannot not compare, you know, it's just impossible. So that's why I try on my page to show you glimpses of just everyday life. Like, yes, I want to be a source of inspiration for you guys and show you like different things around our house and different ideas for kids to give you inspiration and motivation. Like that is my ideal purpose for my channel. But at the same time, I want to give you a dose of reality to let you know that it's not going to be like the perfect situation all the time, you know? So I think it's just about finding the balance and just knowing that it's okay. It's okay if your home isn't spotless. Okay, and then a lot of people ask about like cleaning schedule with the kids, like how do you keep your house clean and in order and balancing everything. And as far as cleaning goes, I try to just find moments during the day where I can get stuff done, but also you want to work smarter, not harder. Instead of just picking toys up all day long, wait until you're done in the playroom, wait until you're done in the living room, or wait until they go down for a nap and then you guys can help like clean together. You can clean the house because I feel like when the kids wake up from their nap, they're not necessarily wanting to play with a ton of toys in the afternoon. So I like cleaning the house in the afternoon because then for the rest of the day, why is my camera going dim? You can kind of just do other stuff, go somewhere, be outside, and the messes aren't continuing on. And then at the end of the day, I'll just try to pick up so that when you wake up, you feel like you have a clean slate. But I do think for me at least, like I have to keep up with cleaning or else it gets out of control. So I just have to do little bits throughout the day. Don't feel like you have to do everything. Tips from going to 2 to 3 kids. So 2 to 3 kids kind of rocked my world. I felt like going to twins, we just managed it and we just were thrown into it and had no time to really think about it. Going from 2 to 3 though was so much harder because I had to take care of a newborn and give 2 young toddlers, they were 2.5 when Owen was born, give them the attention that they needed, and they didn't necessarily understand what was going on at the time. I truly think a 3-year age gap would be much easier. 2.5 is a little hard because they just are still kind of young. So it's just the balance that made it really hard. It definitely gets easier. It's easier now, but again, like with kids, as some things get easier, some things get harder. So I always say that like once you're in the clear for like teething, you're gonna be potty trained. You know, like there's always something. So that's why as a mom, you just have to really be open and like ready to just flow with whatever comes, because it's always gonna be something. And you just can't let it like stress you out too much or it'll take over your life. Okay, I feel like this video is really long, so I'm going to end the video here actually and do another one because I have a ton more things to talk about and like a lot. We're gonna do another video in like 2 weeks. We'll come back to topics because I like just being able to talk with you guys. I don't wanna do like quick rapid fire. I'd rather just chat. So I hope you guys enjoyed this Q&A, and I will be back for part 2. If I didn't answer your question, I'll be back and I'll hopefully have it written here. So